good morning. Just 4 days to go in this summer window. We're into the final stretch and we're expecting drama, plenty of it as well. Time is running out for teams to get the deals over the line, and there are still some massive moves in the pipeline. Coming up on Good Morning Transfers, it was a nightmare first start of the season for André Onana. After his errors saw Ruben Amorim's side crash out of the Carabao Cup to Grimsby. Do United need to get a keeper in? A very good morning to you at home, and to former Wales, Swansea and Everton defender Ashley Williams joins us, and European football expert Andy Brassell is in the studio as well. Great to have you both with us. Finally, it looks like there has been a breakthrough between Chelsea and Manchester United regarding a deal for Alejandro Garnacho. A deal is now closed with a compromise to be reached regarding the valuation. Ashley, it feels like now we can say, with 4 days to go in the window, that Alejandro Garnacho will probably be a Chelsea player. But given it's a World Cup year as well, he's been left out of the Argentina squad for the upcoming games. How much does Alejandro Garnacho need this move?
Yeah, he's desperate. I think he's made that clear from the start. He wanted to go to Chelsea. That was his preferred team. It's a good move for Manchester United. Obviously, he's got no desire to play for Manchester United anymore. As you said, he needs to get back into that Argentina squad. So that's where he wants to go. So if this move does go ahead and he gets into that Chelsea club, it's now down to him. I think it's time for him to start showing what he can do regularly, week in, week out. And he's got no more excuses. He can't say he's unhappy, because this is exactly what he wanted. Whether he fits into that system or not, or where he fits in and how they use him, is I'm not sure yet. But for him himself as a player, he wanted this. He's got it, so now it's time to let his actions do the talking.
Andy, is this a risk for Chelsea in any way, given the situation Alejandro Garnacho finds himself in at United?
I mean, it's less of a risk than if they'd have paid what United actually wanted, but it's still a risk, definitely, because the potential's been obvious for a while. But that we're still talking about potential, I think, is a bit of a concern, because you would have expected him to progress faster. I guess this has been a recurrent problem for Manchester United, isn't it? You've got a player, can you make him into what he really should be? And there have been so many of those players at Manchester United who haven't turned into that player. So now the onus is on Maresca, is on his team, is on Chelsea to make him into what he should be. But they've clearly been looking for that wide player for quite a long time. That they didn't feel that Jadon Sancho was it, so they've gone with Garnacho instead.
Yeah, it's interesting about Alejandro Garnacho, because like you say, you're not quite sure actually where he fits in, but there's a real opportunity there with Jamie Gittins really the only rather recognised left winger. If Alejandro Garnacho comes in and sorts himself out, gets focused, there's a real chance that he could nail down that starting spot, given that Gittins only came in the summer.
Yeah, I think you nailed it there as well. It's about him mentally being a professional now, and I think sometimes you see a little bit the odd tantrum here. Sometimes he does a bit more talking off the pitch than he should do on the pitch. We've all seen the flashes of what he can do. He's clearly a good football player, but what he needs to do now, if he gets this move, is settle down and make that position his position now. And when we was talking off camera before, that the attacking players sometimes find themselves in and out the squad, in and out the starting 11 quite regular. But for him, he needs to be that good at Chelsea, where, because there's an opening there, he starts all the time. Every week he's the first name on the team sheet for that position.
But is like we say about the risk, what happens if Alejandro Garnacho doesn't nail down a starting space and he finds himself on the bench at Chelsea? Are we then in the same position that he was in at United, or do you think it will be different?
Well, maybe. Look, I think Maresca is pretty much... He demands players to give everything off the ball. And that has been, I think, one of the major problems with Garnacho. You haven't really seen... On the ball, he looks great for a lot of the time. And then when United haven't got the ball, you're like, come on, I want to see a bit more. And I can't believe that Maresca will let him get away with that. And when you look at the competition, as you say, with Jamie Gittins, someone who started last season with Dortmund brilliantly, didn't finish last season brilliantly, and again, has an enormous lot to prove. If you think of the sort of players that Chelsea have gone with in recent years, that sort of young and hungry, the competition is so intense. It's like you said, Ashley, there's not just no excuses for Garnacho, but if he doesn't give everything, it just won't happen for him.
And I think on that point as well, which I'm sure we'll touch on, all Manchester United players kind of have an excuse at the minute, because they've come from Manchester United and nobody's playing good. Well, now he's going to a team that are actually performing with a manager that looks like he knows how to get a tune out of his players. So if he isn't doing the work off the ball, or if his end product isn't good enough, it is now on Garnacho, not on... He can't blame anybody else. He can't blame the team or the club because the rest of the players are doing the business.
Yeah, he absolutely can't. But he is young, and there is still so much potential, I think, in Alejandro Garnacho. And it's a similar situation for Kobbie Mainoo, still so young, with so much to give. But he could also leave Manchester United. Ruben Amorim saying he does believe in the midfielder amid interest from clubs in the Premier League and across Europe. But actually, I mean, it's all good and well coming out and saying that you do believe in a player, but you're not really giving him any game time. So what does that mean? It's a World Cup here for Kobbie Mainoo as well.
Well, I think from the manager's point of view, he's probably saying the right thing. But if I'm a player and my manager's coming out post-match or, you know, in the press conference saying he believes in me but he's not playing me, that tells me that he doesn't really believe in me. And we've all seen, again, his quality, what he can do in the Premier League and on the international level. He needs to be playing for a top team. He's a good player, and also he's so popular in the area, in the Manchester area, that fan base. I'm not sure if he leaves that team, how that's going to go down at all. I don't think it'll go down very well.
It's a really difficult sell to the fans, I think, because obviously United have had their difficulties. On the whole, the fans who filled Old Trafford have really stuck with them. But I think this is going to be difficult to swallow. If you think of like Danny Welbeck and how much it hurt those Man United fans when he went, because someone who comes through the system to excel, and you know, Mainoo is someone who could be one of their best players if they develop him right. There's no doubt about that. It would be such a shame. I think a lot of United fans would find that very difficult to accept, particularly if he went to a Premier League rival and excelled there.
And obviously Premier League clubs are interested in Kobbie Mainoo, but there are some European suitors as well. Where do you think he would be best suited if he was to go abroad, Andy?
I could see him, not that I think they especially need him at this moment. I could see him being a Bayern player. And I could see him be a really, really good Bayern player. You look at the energy that they play with and you look at the energy that he plays with at their best. And look, you know, Kimmich and Goretzka aren't going to go on forever. I would be looking at that. I don't think they have the money to make it happen, but I think he'd be great there.
Yeah, what will happen with Kobbie Mainoo? And then what about Rasmus Højlund as well? He's close to leaving. Napoli will hold more talks with Manchester United as they look to finalise a deal for the striker. Andy, the big question here is, though, obviously Romelu Lukaku is injured at the moment, but what happens when Romelu Lukaku gets back fit?
And this is really the crux of the deal, Olivia, because Napoli would like to borrow him and have an option that becomes obligatory after he's played a certain amount of games. And I guess Manchester United are looking at that and thinking, OK, well, if Lukaku gets fit and they never play him again, we're left with this problem again this time next year, which is an issue. I mean, in terms of what United are realistically looking for, I think you have to be honest and say there's not a lot of days left in the transfer window. They've been trying to ditch him for a long time now. He's fallen well short of expectations there. He's used to Serie A. We know he can perform well there. And really, all they need to do with Højlund for the moment is reinflate his value, is to make him sellable. Now, obviously, they would like some guaranteed money, and wouldn't we all? But look, I think you have to be realistic, and if that is the only sticking point, they just have to get him back out there in the shop window, because at the moment, they are lucky that Napoli are desperate. They thought they'd already sorted their transfer window. You know, they got Kevin De Bruyne early on, they got all the other players they wanted early on, and all of a sudden they've been throwing this curveball 14 days before the start of the season, and they have to deal with it. So it's a great opportunity for United. I don't think they should be picking over the little bits, just get it done.
Just get it done. Well, amongst all the changes, or potential changes, there was that huge shock last night, wasn't there? They hit a new low, suffering an embarrassing defeat to Grimsby Town in the Carabao Cup second round after what was an absolutely brilliant penalty shootout, by the way. But Ashley, I think embarrassing, it feels like the right word to sum up Manchester United last night.
100%, but I think before we get onto that, fair play to Grimsby. Yeah. Well done, Grimsby. Let's not forget that. I know the storyline is Manchester United, but well done to Grimsby.
The best team on the night went through.
Yeah, 100%, without a shadow of a doubt, in my opinion. And it's just another thing with Manchester United. Just when you think there's nothing else you can say about them, like they come up with something like last night, and there's loads of words that you could use: embarrassing, ridiculous, just poor. The manager he comes out, he doesn't feel you any confidence at all that he's going to rectify the situation. I don't know how low it can get at Manchester United before they start to build back up again. It was just when you don't think that that's going to happen, it happens, and it's in typical recent Manchester United fashion.
I suppose it's just the optics of it, really, isn't it? Because if you think about it, the Carabao Cup shouldn't be the ultimate aim for Manchester United this season. If you go back to previous generations of United teams, you think of United getting beaten in this competition 3-0 at home by York. And it's just something you get over because they're a bigger fish to fry. But I guess because it's so tense, because each match feels like Amorim auditioning still, even though he's been in charge for almost a year now. This is why it means so much. And it shouldn't mean so much, but it says a lot about where United are at this moment that it does.
And then they know they're not going to win the league this year. There's almost zero chance of them winning the league.
No Europe.
Yeah, no Europe. So you'd think, and they didn't play the weakest team that they've got.
They
played a strong team.
For Man United, they played a pretty strong team against League Two.
They would be going for it, and they'd be trying to. If I'm in that Manchester United team, I understand. Okay, we're probably not going to win the league, but I want some silverware. It's a good opportunity.
Let's go for the cups.
Yeah, definitely.
Obviously, since Amorim's come in, Andy, I mean, first of all, do you think there's any way back for him? Do you think it's okay? But have you seen enough of an improvement in Manchester United? You know, Amorim's been in charge for a while now. This isn't someone who came in a couple of months ago.
Yeah, the word improvement's doing a lot of heavy lifting there, isn't it? I mean, I don't know. I suppose there's some gentle progress in the sense that they've started this season with pretty much the same team that they finished last season with. So it's clear that he feels that the back part of the team he's got right, and he's trying to just fix a new forward line to that. Now look, until Šeško's fit, I think it's very difficult to make any judgments on how United are really going to function. And there have been good bits, I think, in the opening 2 Premier League games. I thought it was really encouraging the way they played against Arsenal. But because the pressure is so intense at Manchester United, we all know that there are a couple of clubs in the Premier League where you just don't get time to work because the pressure is so intense that everything means so much. So I think the problem is, until it gets to about October, if United fire him before then, it doesn't look like it's on him, it looks like it's on the club. And Sir Jim Ratcliffe definitely doesn't want that for the moment. It's kind of like how they used Erik ten Hag as a bit of a human shield last season, you know, and you know, that kind of wrote off last season, didn't it? Because it meant that Amorim came in without a pre-season. Of course, the thing is, now he has had a pre-season, there are less and less excuses. I think he'll get time for a while yet, but you know, it's tense and it's really difficult.
And actually, sort of pose this question in your first answer, but where do United go from here? I mean, that Burnley at home this weekend is way bigger, 3rd Premier League game of the season. It's way bigger than anyone would have expected at this stage.
And Burnley will be right up for it. If you're Burnley now, all of a sudden, I mean, when I used to play against Manchester United, you was like, this is a free hit, we're probably going to lose, but we can give it a go. Burnley are now going into it thinking, right, they're there for the taking. But in terms of the bigger, I really thought that Ruben Amorim would do well when he come in. I thought he had a really good system that he played that was difficult to play against. It's just completely not worked at all, and he's sticking to what he believes in. Fair play to him for that. But there's got to come a time when he says, I don't have the players to play in this system, or they're not understanding my instructions, and change it and be a little bit more flexible and adaptable to the Premier League or to the players that he's got. I don't really see how he's going to fix this. And as I said before, he doesn't come out and film with confidence when he says, I know what the problem is, I'm going to change this by the weekend.
Yeah, and another one of Ruben Amorim's problems is the goalkeeper. André Onana returned to the starting 11 but made 2 costly mistakes. Amorim, though, dismissed the suggestion that he has any issues with the goalkeeper's position.
When you play against a 4th division team, it's not the goalkeeper, it's everything. It's the environment, it's the way we face the competition. We know that we are in the moment, everything. People will pay attention to everything. It's going to be massive, every detail. And we show that performance today. So my players spoke for me really loud.
That was Ruben Amorim there, speaking about the goalkeeper position. I mean, André Onana, first start of the season, didn't quite cover himself in glory, did he, Ashley?
No, I just don't get it. I feel like when I watch him play, you just want him to have a quiet game. You're like, can we get through a game or a week without mentioning André Onana if he's in between the sticks? And you always are. So the fact that we're talking about him again this morning, I'm glad that his manager's come out and backed him and tried to play that down. But we have to talk about him because, again, he's made costly errors, big errors, and he's so flamboyant in the goal. It's like, just have a quiet game. You don't have to be the star of the show in this game. Just do your job. Don't be for us here sitting talking about you, but again, we're talking about him for errors.
Manchester United are making waves again, but this time it's not about a flashy striker or a big money winger. After assembling an explosive attack with Benjamin Sesko, Matheus Cunha and Brian Mbeumo, the Red Devils have now turned their attention to midfield. And here's the twist. Ruben Amorim's side is eyeing 30-year-old Rubio from Marseille. Sounds surprising. It gets better. According to Give Me Sport correspondent Fabrizio Romano, United could have a real shot at landing Rubio this summer. Why? The Frenchman recently made headlines for a heated dressing room bust-up, making his exit from League One almost certain. And with United desperate for reinforcements, this deal might happen sooner than anyone expects. But here's the million-dollar question. Is this the right move? Rubio was once a force to be reckoned with, but at 30 years old, has he already played his best football? Can he still add quality to Amorim's midfield, or is this just another panic buy that could backfire? Some fans believe his experience could be a game changer, bringing leadership and steel to the squad. Others argue United should invest in younger, hungrier talent instead of chasing fading stars. So, is Rubio the missing piece in United's puzzle, or a gamble they'll regret? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Is this a smart deal or a disaster in the making? Stay tuned for more transfer drama. This saga is just getting started.